Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed faculty, proud parents, and distinguished graduates, we are graced with the presence of a truly remarkable individual, a luminary in international diplomacy and law. Ambassador Bensurto's journey is nothing short of extraordinary. A career diplomat, lawyer, teacher, and former student activist, he has traversed as the former Philippine Consul General to San Francisco, USA. He exemplified the highest standards of diplomacy, fostering amicable relations and promoting the Philippines' interest on the global stage. Yet it is his profound understanding of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, and his unwavering commitment to addressing the West Philippine Sea issue that has set Ambassador Bensurto apart as a preeminent authority. His illustrious career includes roles as Assistant Secretary of the Office of Consular Affairs and the West Philippine Sea Center in the Department of Foreign Affairs, and Secretary General of the Commission on Maritime and Ocean Affairs, where he orchestrated a harmonious approach to the complexities of maritime law. Ambassador Bensurto's vision gave birth to the Zone of Peace, Freedom, Friendship, and Cooperation, a groundbreaking political-legal framework designed to resolve and manage disputes in the South China Sea. This framework became the cornerstone of Philippine engagement with ASEAN in China and played an integral role in the country's 2013 arbitration case against China, culminating in a historic victory for the Philippines. His exceptional contributions have not gone unnoticed. Ambassador Bensurto's involvement in the arbitration case earned him the prestigious 2016 Torchbearer Award from the Philippine American Press Club, USA. Moreover, he has received presidential awards from Presidents Benigno S. Aquino III and Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, recognizing his outstanding efforts in safeguarding Philippine interests and maritime territories. Beyond these accolades, Ambassador Bensurto's dedication to the principles of UNCLOS and the South China Sea issue has made him a sought-after speaker in both domestic and international forums. His written works on international law stand as a testament to his intellectual prowess and commitment to shaping global discourse. In recognition of his achievements and dedication to public service, the University of the Philippines bestowed upon him the Most Distinguished Alumnus Award on Public Service and Governance in 2017. Ambassador Bensurto's academic journey is equally impressive. He holds a bachelor's degree in political science with a minor in economics from the University of the Philippines, and he completed his law degree at the San Beda College of Law. His thirst for knowledge led him to pursue graduate studies overseas, including a distinction in public international law from Oxford University. Friends, please join me in extending our warmest UMak welcome to the Honorable Henry S. Bensurto Jr., Ambassador of the Philippines to Turkey.
Ay, upo po. Thank you. Thank you. I'm overwhelmed. Dr. Elixir C. Ramos, University President. I hope I didn't massacre your name, sir. Dr. Ederson Tapia, Vice President for Academic Affairs. Attorney Jewel D. Bulos, Vice President for Administration, from whom I received my education in a span of 30 minutes. Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Maria Faye Nanette M. Cariaga, Vice President for Planning and Research. Engineer Luke Ivan B. Moro, Vice President for Finance. Mr. Virgilio B. Tabu, Vice President for Student Services and Community Development. Ms. Juvie Hermosura, University Secretary. Distinguished members of the Board of Regents, deans, members of faculty and staff of the university, parents, graduates, and guests. Thank you, Ed, for that very kind and generous introduction. Thank you for having me as your commencement speaker. As I was kindly introduced by Dr. Tapia, I am the Philippine Ambassador to the Republic of Turkey, and I have been appointed by the President, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., and recently confirmed by the Commission on Appointment. Actually, I originally intended to fly to Turkey as soon as I received my agrément from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Turkey in order to begin my duty as the country's representative to that beautiful and historic country with a marching order from the President to strengthen bilateral relations between the Philippines and Turkey. It is a task that I intend to accomplish with joy and sincerity as a Foreign Service officer and as a Filipino. Well, I did receive my agrément this August, but nonetheless, decided happily to postpone my departure for next month in September because Dr. Tapia's invitation for me to speak before all of you. Indeed, it is an honor to share this momentous event with the more than 2,000 graduating students of the University of Makati. This is actually the second time that I'm speaking before students of your very nice university. The first time was when the late hero, Nene Pimentel, invited me to speak before your Public Policy Center regarding the Philippine Archipelagic Baselines Law sometime in 2009. That experience left a very good impression in my mind of your university and the quality of students. Thus, I consider it a privilege to be given again the opportunity to speak before you on this occasion. I have spoken in various fora, both international and local, and engaged with a number of audiences of different backgrounds. Yet, I always find a different kind of joy and fulfillment when I talk to students. Perhaps it is the teacher in me. Aside from being a Foreign Service officer, I also teach part-time in the Graduate School of Law of San Beda University. It is therefore a natural joy for any teacher to see students pass through the rigors of a university and transition into the real world. Graduation is that rite of passage. It marks the culmination of your hard work as students of academic life. It also signals the beginning of you as students of real life, one which does not necessarily equate to practicing all the learnings you acquired in the university. Some of you may pursue further studies, others will immediately enter the labor force, and a few may try an altogether different path. Regardless of your future plans, you should be proud of yourselves inasmuch as I believe your loved ones are proud of you. Today is a day of celebration and reflection, a day to honor the graduates' hard work, dedication, and perseverance throughout their academic journey. As we gather here to mark this momentous occasion, I am deeply inspired myself by the University of Makati's theme, Transforming Lives, Inspiring Generations, which encapsulates the essence of the impact that education has had on our graduates, and the immense responsibility that lies ahead for each one of you to apply what you have learned and pay it forward. Dear graduates, you have experienced firsthand the transformative power of education. You have acquired knowledge, honed your skills, and expanded your horizons during your time at this esteemed institution. All the little moments you have lived, picking your course, choosing which school to go to, meeting your batchmates for the first time, making new lifelong friends, all those late nights, cramming sessions, and memorable discussions with your professors and peers, all, I may say, experienced during an unprecedented global pandemic, all of these moments have led you to this important day. And now, as you enter the next phase of your life, it is important to reflect on how you can apply yourself and how you can carry forward the transformation you have experienced while at the university. Dear graduates, you have graduated at the time when the world is in great upheaval. Pandemic, interstate war, extreme weather events due to climate change, rapid technological advances such as artificial intelligence, among others, have caused social disruptions that we are still trying to navigate and adapt with. It is unfortunate, perhaps, that you, who already are feeling apprehensive as you enter a new chapter in your lives, would also have to deal with the uncertainties brought about by these new challenges. And what challenges these are? It is not an exaggeration to state that the world is changing fast. And from all indications, not everything are necessarily for the better. The confluence of recent events signifies the unraveling of the current global and social order. Indeed, the term normal post-pandemic has been redefined. At present, we are seeing a foreshadowing of social changes. International norms and institutions are being threatened by the rise of irrational nationalism. Democratic values and principles are in peril because of political divisiveness. The fabric of society is continually being undermined by unscrupulous use of technologies, including propagating falsehoods and fake news. And the existing regulations have hard time keeping with the rapid advancement of technologies. All these are happening at the global and local level. Unless we collectively do something about it, we seem to be heading to a future that may be unprecedented in terms of technologies, but bleak with respect to the future of humanity. The continuity of existing international norms and institutions, and the sustainability of our world. I say this not to alarm you, but actually to prepare you. The trajectory of our future lies both in our individual and collective actions. Lest it be misunderstood, your actions need not be grandiose. Each of us can contribute to a better tomorrow in our own way, be it small or be it big, be it ordinary or be it extraordinarily. However, one thing is certain. Change starts from one's mindset. One may dream big, but one should not despise the daily routines of our everyday, ordinary life. Some of us, due to various reasons and some circumstances, together with God's plan, may be given an opportunity to do great things and a lot of good for others. That is actually good. That's why there are several national heroes. But perhaps for many of us, our opportunity to do good for others is the ordinary work that we do on a daily basis. One must be able to seize and convert each moment of our daily work into opportunities to serve others. No matter how menial or ordinary that work may be, but if we put love into it and do the same to a heroic degree, that seemingly ordinary work ceases to be a mere task meant to be accomplished for compliance purposes, or what we refer to as pass your paper mentality. It rather attains a supernatural purpose, especially for those who are religious, if done for the love of God, and becomes a raw material for helping or even sanctifying others, including oneself. In this context, allow me to speak on an advocacy that I have been espousing for the past few years, and which I think is timely given that we just celebrated the National Heroes Day 2 days ago. That is strengthening the Filipino nation. You will enter a new world. Some of you may remain here in the Philippines, and a number of you may go out and seek more opportunities outside the country. In all of this, I hope that you always remember that you are Filipinos. You come from a beautiful archipelago of 7,641 islands called the Philippines. Your national language is Filipino, although that may not be your comfort language. You do not necessarily have brown skin or big eyes or a flat nose. You can either be short or tall or just average height. You probably are a Catholic or a Christian, but you can also be a Muslim. You like rice, that is a given, and also adobo. But you are a Filipino. A Filipino is someone who values God above all and treasures family most of all. A Filipino is someone who respects and cares for the elders and protects the young and the vulnerable. Someone who is willing to endure loneliness and distance just to be able to provide comfort to his or her family. Someone who is passionate about his convictions, yet willing to listen to the other side. Someone who loves his or her country but does not despise others. Someone who is resilient, able to withstand and rise from any storm or calamities. Someone who believes in the dignity of every person, regardless of age, gender, and status in life. Fear of God, love of family, respect for elders, nurture of the young and vulnerable, passionate, prayerful, resilience. These are some of the Filipino traits that we should remember. Why did I ask you to remember who you are. Because as you go out into the world, chances are you have to assimilate the culture of the foreign country of your future residence. That is understandable. However, do not forget your true spirit and essence as a Filipino, your culture and heritage. Also, when able, find opportunities to promote Filipino culture, especially among those kababayans who have been abroad for quite a while. What I wish to say is that I want you, especially for those who are planning to go abroad, to be Philippine ambassadors in your own little way. Because the challenges of time demand us all to contribute in our own way to strengthening our Filipino nation. But why? For one, we are more than 100 million Filipino people, of which more than 10 million Filipinos live and work abroad. Just imagine, 10% of our population are scattered in more than 200 countries. Filipino diaspora poses a challenge to our government, particularly with respect to the protection and promotion of their interests. Our government, through the Department of Foreign Affairs, the Department of Migrant Workers, and OWA, have several initiatives on this aspect. And much of the limited resources are being oriented to this matter. Accordingly, other equally important initiatives, such as the promotion of Filipino culture, particularly reconnecting those third and fourth generation of Filipino diaspora to their Filipino heritage, have been overlooked. And I find this matter quite unsettling. Imagine, if we do not reach out to these generations of Filipinos, then they may not see and consider their Filipino heritage as being part of their identity. It is very possible, therefore, that the heritage we call Filipino may be lost one day in the not-too-distant future. And because they don't see the connection with their heritage, they cannot be expected to give back, patronize, or work for the betterment of their Filipino community, thus leading to a less empowered Filipino nation. Indeed, we now have to change our mindset. Strengthening the Filipino nation is not limited to government activities related to improving a country's economic activities, its resource capabilities, its military capabilities, social services, among others, within the Philippine archipelago. It also refers to creating opportunities for nation building beyond our borders. We have to accept the fact that due to the Filipino diaspora, the term Filipino is no longer confined within the political and territorial boundaries of the Philippine archipelago. That name is shared, experienced, and nourished by the more than 10 million Filipinos all over the world, either as contract workers, immigrants, or second, or third, or fourth generation of Filipinos of foreign citizenship. And as a nation, the term Filipino goes beyond the technical definition of citizenship. In this new paradigm of nation building, all efforts of Filipinos, private and public, organized and not organized, are welcome. It is on this premise that I launched the Spark, Connect, Empower movement when I was the Philippine Consul General in San Francisco a few years ago. I call it SCE, Spark, Connect, Empower. It is a non-partisan, non-political movement intended to spark love and passion among all Filipinos, including those of Filipino lineage, both at home and abroad, about their Filipino culture and heritage. Connect them with one another, and in the process, empower them as individuals and collectively as a community. When I left in 2020, there were more than 50 SCE partners, both organizations and individuals, that signed on to promote the same advocacy. For those who do not have plans to go abroad, and that's good because we need you here in the country, you might think that SCE does not apply to you. This is not correct. When you enter public service, for example, you will know that public service requires commitment, which is possible if one has love for his or her work that emanates from his love of country. When I assumed as Assistant Secretary of the Office of Consular Affairs in the Department of Foreign Affairs, I also implemented SCE as the overarching framework that has guided the Office of Consular Affairs programs and activities. SCE, with respect to public service, aims to spark love for the country by doing one's daily job effectively, efficiently, with compassion, and with care. By doing so, we're able to connect government with people and people with government. And by doing so, in the process, empower each and every individual who is served and also the government in totality because it projects good governance. Following SCE as our ethos in the Office of Consular Affairs, the office, in fact, received the following commendations for its excellent performance. The Anti-Red Tape Authority Silver Award with a 100,000 cash reward and recognition by the Department of Trade and Industry for providing an enabling environment for exporters through the use of its apostille online portal, which has a separate category for exporters, businesses requiring services. The awards that our office received are a testament to the kind of service that our staff have delivered. As newly graduates, you may think that your efforts would not have that much impact on your organization, but it has. As earlier said, all actions, whether big or small, contribute to a larger goal, which all redounds to the ultimate objective of empowering the country. This is true whether you work in a public or private organization. Aside from the Spark, Connect, Empower, my other advocacy relating to empowering Filipino nation is to promote a national consciousness on the West Philippine Sea, South China Sea issue. I have been involved in the West Philippine Sea issue since the early 1990s. I was the head of the Department of Foreign Affairs legal team on the West Philippine Sea. I formulated the legal framework for the South China Sea arbitration. Needless to say, West Philippine Sea is an issue that is so close to my heart. It was a historic moment when we won the arbitration in 2016. But as years go by, I note with sadness that the importance of our legal victory has yet to be understood by the greater population. Worse, some Filipinos have been persuaded by disinformation and wrong narratives that undermine the Philippine position on the West Philippine Sea issue. Dear graduates, you may think that the issue of West Philippine Sea must only be a government concern. This is farther from the truth. West Philippine Sea is not only a problem of the Department of Foreign Affairs, of the Department of National Defense, or the Philippine Coast Guard, or only of the President. West Philippine Sea issue is an existential issue, one affecting our territorial integrity and our dignity as a Filipino nation. As such, it is all our problem, and all of us should be concerned. We should have a mindset that the protection of the West Philippine Sea is a collective duty of all Filipinos. The first thing that I urge you to do is to immerse yourself on the issue. One cannot love that which you do not know. And therefore, a first step in the process of falling in love is to know your object of love. Read anything on the West Philippine Sea. There are government websites that provide factual information on the West Philippine Sea issue. The National Task Force on West Philippine Sea issue provides briefings on what are happening at sea. Try to watch those videos. As you immerse yourself on the issue, participate in the national discussion. Convey your ideas, your opinions, your apprehensions. When you feel that your efforts are not heard or seen or noticed, don't stop. It is understandable. Do not despair. Whispers are rarely heard, but collective whispers can turn into a resounding shout. You just carry on. This is what the Philippines experienced in the early stages of its internationalization of the South China Sea in 2012, and at the beginning of the South China Sea arbitration in 2013. But the Philippines continued, and now a large number of countries have expressed their support to the Philippines on the South China Sea, West Philippine Sea issue. Besides sharing your opinions, you can also help stem the propagation of wrong narratives. Do not share posts or articles that are detrimental to our position. Alternatively, share articles that promote our national stance. I do not expect you all to be expert on the West Philippine Sea issue, but you have to know what is at stake at the West Philippine Sea issue. This, at the very least, is what is expected of you as Filipinos. Besides having the right mindset, what propels positive change are the right values or virtues. On this, I wish to share two main values or virtues that one may find useful: courage and compassion. These two values is something that we can use as we engage the new world. These two virtues and values allowed me to make the right decisions during difficult times and have guided my actions in the various professional roles I have held. First, let me expound on the value of courage. In this volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world, courage is what allows us to keep moving forward. In my own experience, and pardon the lack of humility, may I just give this as an example. I actually had to draw on this virtue a lot. For example, 30 years or so ago, I found myself in a situation not unlike where you are now. I had just graduated from the University of the Philippines with a political science degree. I knew that I wanted a professional life that would allow me to give back to society. I myself had experienced how the right opportunities, such as quality education, could transform one's life. So, with the intent of paying forward and wanting to provide social equity, I decided to take law at San Beda College, and eventually, in 1991, drawing on a lot of courage, I took the bar examination and the Foreign Service Officers examination at the same time, two of the most difficult examinations in the same year with 1 month apart from each other. By God's grace, I passed both. You have to have that guts. You have to have that courage. You should not be the one to prevent yourself from coming out and soaring like an eagle. If you can be an eagle, don't be a barnyard hen. Soar as an eagle. That is your destiny. In fact, that decision led me to my career now as a Foreign Service officer. Again, in my career in the Department of Foreign Affairs, I had to face many impossible challenges. But perhaps the moment wherein my courage was tested the most was when the late Secretary Albert Del Rosario, the former Secretary of Foreign Affairs, and I, along with our colleagues at the West Philippine Sea Center and the Commission on Maritime and Ocean Affairs, were crafting a creative solution to the issue of the South China Sea. Now, in 2023, we already know the significant success that would be the 2016 Hague ruling, which invalidates China's sweeping claims in the South China Sea. However, at the time, many actors worked against our plans. There were times that I felt like a lone wolf. And it was through courage that I was able to confront the various challenges we were facing. Working with my colleagues at the Department of Foreign Affairs, as well as other West Philippine Sea champions, we now have the 2016 landmark ruling by the International Arbitral Tribunal, which itself is a noteworthy symbol of the Philippines courageously standing up against a more powerful actor and being steadfast in its protection and promotion of the international rule of law. And so with this, I remind our graduates that in your professional and even personal life, you will encounter moments that will test you. In these difficult times, be brave and trust yourself. Do not be afraid to choose the unpopular path. Do not be afraid to go against the grain. Do not be afraid to stand up for what is right. The second value that I would like to emphasize is compassion. Compassion means to suffer together. And at the core of compassion is recognizing and respecting the innate human dignity of each person. While courage will give you the strength to face the obstacles that life will throw at you, it is compassion that will give you purpose and direction as to where you should apply this courage. There is no sense in being brave if you are only being brave to benefit yourself. This bravery must be employed for a higher purpose of service to your community, to your family, to your country. Dear graduates, in barely 3 decades, we will commemorate the 100 years of our liberation from the United States. As the centennial celebration of the Philippine independence from American colonial period, we must take stock of where we have come and chart our course towards strengthening and empowering Filipino nationhood. Thus far, what is glaring is that our country is still facing threats, both in terms of its physical territory, that is the West Philippine Sea, and on the preservation of its culture and heritage among Filipino diaspora. I have shared ways by which each of us can help address these threats and contribute to a strong and empowered Philippines. We do not all need to be heroes doing great works and huge sacrifices, but we can do our ordinary works to a heroic degree and in the process do a lot of good for many. Even in our own small ways, regardless where you are, we can do our part. And we have to start with the mindset that we are Filipinos. And as such, we have to participate in nation building. As we forge ahead, let courage and compassion be your guiding light. As graduates of the University of Makati, you are not just recipients of good education, you are now ambassadors of change. You have the power to uplift the lives of others and inspire future generations by being exemplary leaders and dedicated professionals in your chosen fields. Finally, before I end my speech, I would like to take this opportunity to ask all of the graduates, all of you, please, if I can ask you to please stand up, dear graduates. Maybe we can also ask the parents who are with you now to also please stand up so that you show your unity with your sons and daughters, or husbands and wives, if I may ask you. And together, on a count of 3, I want all of us to shout with passion, and shout to the world. Let the world hear us, what we will shout. And on a count of 1, 2, 3, I want all of us to shout, hear this. Pinay, Pinay ako, taas noo, Pinoy ako, proud ako. So on a count of 1, 2, 3, I'll repeat. Pinay ako, taas noo, Pinoy ako, proud ako. And do that with a fist, pumping fist, okay? And then at the end, Yahoo, okay? So let the world hear us from the University of Makati being proud Filipinos. On a count of 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Pinay ako, taas noo, Pinoy ako, proud ako. Mabuhay kayong lahat. Thank you.